Hi my loves, today I am doing a first impressions on this new Stay Luminous foundation from CoverGirl. You guys know that I absolutely love the CoverGirl 3-in-1 foundation. It is by far my holy grail foundation from the drugstore, so I do have very high hopes for this foundation. I have not seen that many reviews on this foundation thus far on YouTube, so I don't really know what to expect at all. I actually have not watched any of them because none of them have come up in my subscription box. I'm sure there's some out there, but I have not seen them, so I don't know what to expect really from this foundation. It doesn't make that many claims. It just says that it is a natural glow foundation. On the back it says it gives even coverage and a natural glow that lasts all day. So I don't think that this is going to be as full coverage as the 3-in-1, which is okay. You don't need a super full coverage foundation in the summer, even though I personally tend to go for a more full coverage foundation. I did still want to give this foundation a try. I actually have never found a luminous foundation from the drugstore that I like. So hopefully this will fill that little niche for me. I have found some more higher end foundations that are luminous that I like, but from the drugstore, I haven't really found any that I like. I don't like the True Match Lumi, I think. I don't like that foundation at all. It really did not work for me, but I know a lot of people love it. So hopefully this one will work for me since the CoverGirl 3-in-1 works for me so well. So I got it in the color Soft Honey, which is the same color that I am in the 3-in-1, but I did realize that they do have a much smaller color range than the 3-in-1 has. So for the 3-in-1, I would say maybe they have like 12 colors or so. For this one, at least at the store that I was at, they only had about 6. So it was almost like every other color from the 3-in-1 line they took and made it for the Stay Luminous. Maybe if this ends up being as popular, they'll come out with all the colors, but the color range was definitely smaller for this, but they did actually have the color that I was, which was the 855 Soft Honey. But yeah, it does have a pump, which is amazing. That's like one of the main reasons that I love the CoverGirl 3-in-1 is because of the pump. Like I hate foundations that don't have pumps, and most drugstore ones don't, so I think that's great. The CoverGirl does have that with this foundation. Hopefully it's gonna last on me, because sometimes I get scared with luminous foundations. They're just gonna slide off my face, especially in the summer when it's hot, but that's why we're doing the first impressions, so we will see. So I did already prime the skin using my Laura Mercier Foundation Primer in Radiance, because I did want to use like a luminizing primer to work with this foundation. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply it with the Beauty Blender. This is kind of my favorite foundation tool, so whenever I'm first trying out a foundation, I will typically use the Beauty Blender to apply it. So I usually use about 2 to 3 pumps of the 3-in-1, so that's when I'm gonna go in with this. I think I'll start with 2 and then see if I need to add some more. So I'm just gonna apply it actually to my finger first. So that's 1 pump, and just apply it to my skin. Oh, it's a lot thicker than I thought it was gonna be, so that's good. It's not like a runny foundation, because I kind of thought maybe it would be runny since it's supposed to be luminous, but it's not. It's a thicker consistency, very similar to the 3-in-1, but it definitely does have a smell to it. I don't know what that is. I don't know if there's sunscreen in this. It doesn't look like there's sunscreen, but it definitely has a smell. It's not like bad, but it does smell, which I don't think I've ever realized with the 3-in-1. But I'm gonna go ahead and blend that in with the Beauty Blender and see how it blends. I do have a lot of redness in my skin right now and some bumps on my cheeks just because I've been trying so many new foundations, so we'll really get to see if this does cover. It looks like it's covering, but it's definitely not full coverage, I wouldn't say. I would say it's more of a medium coverage, because it's not like no coverage either, which is good, because I probably would not like it if it was like that. Okay, so that is the first layer with 2 pumps. It's definitely not as full coverage as the 3-in-1, but again, I kind of knew that going in. I knew it wasn't supposed to be like a full coverage foundation. It does give a nice even coverage, I will say that. It definitely is luminous. It does have like a glow to it, which I do actually really like. I think for the summer that's really nice. So this was 2 pumps, kind of like a first layer. I am gonna go back in with 1 more pump and just kind of add it to my T-zone to see if I can build this foundation up. Normally I'd probably just leave it at 2 pumps, but I do wanna see if it does build up, if I wanted it to be a little bit more full coverage. So I'm just gonna apply it to the areas that I typically get a lot of redness to kind of build it up in those areas. Okay, so far it does seem like it will build pretty well, and you can make it a little bit more full coverage. Still definitely not a full coverage foundation, I wouldn't say, but it does actually give a pretty good coverage for a luminous foundation. I would say that it's more medium to buildable. I think it would be like a little excessive if you did 4 pumps, but I do think that if you did add another pump of foundation on top of the 3 that I did, it would actually be pretty full coverage. So if you don't mind using 4 pumps and you want a Luminous full coverage foundation, I think that would actually probably work, because now I feel like I'm really working with a good solid medium coverage with those 3 pumps. It's almost full. Definitely buildable, which I do like, so you could build this up if you did want to. Okay, so that is the coverage after I did apply 3 pumps. I do think it is very buildable, which is nice. I do like the luminous glow that it gives. I think it's really nice for summer. So far I do like this foundation. Obviously it's different than the foundations that I typically go for, but I do actually really like it. I think it's a nice change for summer. Obviously that could completely change if this like melts off my face, which I think it might, but hopefully it won't. So I will see you guys probably around 3 or 4. It's about 11:30 here now, so I'll check back in around 3 or 4, and then again much later tonight before I do go to bed and give you guys kind of my final thoughts on this foundation. Hey guys, so it is now 4:28 p.m. And so far I have been really liking this foundation and enjoying it. It has stayed on my skin very well. I do find that it is kind of hydrating to the skin. Like my skin doesn't feel really dry or anything, which it typically does because I do have dry skin. So I do kind of like that about this foundation. I think maybe if you have oily skin, you might not like that feeling. But I like it. It really kind of feels like it's moisturizing my skin. I do think the coverage has lasted pretty well. Again, it's not a full coverage foundation. That's not what it's marketed as. But I built it up with the 3 pumps, and I do think that it's more than enough coverage for me, especially in the summertime, and I am typically a full coverage girl. So far I really like this foundation. My main concern with it was going to be the lasting power, and it's lasted pretty well so far. I have been out running errands and stuff, and it's like 95 degrees here today, and it's still on my face. I did set just the T-zone with a translucent powder, and so far I don't really have any complaints with it. I didn't even use the setting spray today because I just, have been out running around, nothing like super crazy. But yeah, I mean, I like the luminous glow that it gives. I like that it's kind of moisturizing to my skin. I do think that it did oxidize a little bit, so that would be one thing that I would look out for. It works for me fine because it was actually like a little light when I first applied it, so now that it oxidized, I feel like it matches a little bit better than it did in the beginning. But if you're kind of in between shades, I would probably go for the lighter one because it will oxidize, which I don't really find with the 3-in-1 on my skin at least. But that's fine. Again, the color still matches. It wasn't like it completely changed to a different color. But so far I am pretty impressed with this foundation. So I am back with my final check-in, and it is now 11:48 p.m. So it is pretty late. So I've gotten the chance to kind of gather my thoughts about this foundation, and I actually really, really do like it. It definitely get a thumbs up from me. The lasting power of this foundation was way better than I expected. I have not gone back with any more powder, any more concealer, any more foundation, nothing, all day. And I was out in the heat today doing things for a large majority of the day, and it has stayed on my face really, really well. The only place that it did break apart a little bit is around my nose area, but that kind of happens with me with all foundations. I tend to get kind of oily in that area alone, so it broke up a little bit on my nose, but that's fine. Like I said, it pretty much happens with all foundations, so I was kind of expecting that. It did break up a little bit around my mouth as well, but obviously I ate 3 meals since when I filmed this, so I mean obviously it's gonna come off a little bit. So again, but the rest of my face was like totally fine. It's still really on there, so I did really like it. I did use 3 pumps, which is a lot. Probably I'll use 2 pumps going forward, but I did want to see if it was buildable, which it was, which is great. So it really is a buildable luminous foundation from the drugstore, which thus far I have not found one that I like. So I'm really, really glad that I did give this a try. I think it's great for the summer. It does give a luminous glow to the skin. It really just makes you kind of seem like you're glowing from within, not like a disco ball or anything like that. It's just kind of a nice, more subtle, luminous glow. So I did really, really enjoy that. I thought that it was really pretty. The only thing that I could see it being an issue with is with people with oily skin. If you don't like the luminous look, this obviously isn't a foundation for you, but I don't think you'd purchase this anyways because it's literally called Stay Luminous. So it's not like it's luminous and it's not supposed to be, because it is supposed to be. So besides that, I really didn't find any flaws with the actual formulation of the foundation. The only thing that did bother me a little bit that I could see bothering other people is that it definitely did oxidize on my face for sure. I felt like during the day it kind of just kept getting darker and darker. Definitely beware of that when you go out. If you do decide to purchase this foundation, I probably would go a shade lighter, especially if you're in between shades. definitely go a shade lighter because it is going to oxidize. At least it oxidized on me. I'm not sure if on different skin types it oxidizes differently. It probably does, I'm sure. So, but for me, it definitely did oxidize. But again, I mean, I'm still going to use this foundation because it still matches my neck just fine. It's not like a huge, totally different color. So it's fine by me. I really, really did like this foundation. I definitely think that I'm going to get a lot of use out of this. I love that it has a pump. It's a good price because it's drugstore. So, you know, I love drugstore foundations and I'm a sucker for them because I don't want to go out and have to spend 50, 40, you know, however much money on a high-end foundation all the time. So I love finding gems like this from the drugstore, and this definitely is a great one. I definitely will give this a thumbs up for sure. So good job, CoverGirl, for coming out with this foundation. I really, really did like it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and click that subscribe button down below if you have not already. And I will see you guys very soon in one of my next videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.